purposely sought out the garbage balancing because he knew it would extend the life of the game. Bro's not gonna think this is him being summoned to a world. He's just like, he's playing a game. Will he just spawn in a forest? How's this gonna work? Oh, bro just got born. That's an interesting way to visualize childbirth in a non-gross way. Okay. Romantically inept. Hey, he's nothing if not honest. Yo, I mean, to be fair, if he was a 35 romantically inept man before, sucking on some titties, I suppose it's not totally bad now. Hey, pretty mama. Well, Denka didn't survive that long, huh? See, that's kind of interesting. Rather than just a basic summoning modifier, it's like we're stacking fucking Yu-Gi-Oh cards here. That's interesting. Of course we've seen summoners. I mean, fucking Rimuru can summon, right? But it's different with this whole book mechanic and the stacking system and everything. It's actually fun. These are some Digimon. The visuals and everything. Okay, this is gonna be a fucking good show. Now that I've seen, like, enough of how the creatures are looking visually, I think I'm sold. Alright, I love that mole. Yeah. Such a little bastard, I love him. This new anime season's certainly cooking. If you haven't saw the video, make sure you drop a like, share, support, subscribe if you're new around here, and Patreon is where I catch my full live reactions, all that and more. Also helps on the channel videos just like these. So Hell Mode is a show that I've personally been anticipating. I thought it sounded fun based on the name. I mean, people can bitch and moan all they want. Insert obnoxiously large name, Hell Mode, the hardcore gamer dominates in another world with garbage balancing. But to be honest, these long names perfectly capture, I think, the intro of these series, which helps you understand where it's going to go. But I gotta be honest, the best way I can sum this up is that you end up with a Mushoku Tensei style opening. Dude doesn't really have a great life, summoned to a new world, starts from scratch, right? Yes, was Mushoku Tensei the first anime to ever do that? No. But ever since Mushoku Tensei, we've seen more and more isekai be okay with watching the guy start from childbirth and work his way up. The thing about this is that it is unironically set to the hellish mode. It's like, what if Rudy started in a new world, but it was the maximum difficulty possible? But not in the way that, like, oh my god, we're starving, we can't do this, that, and the third. It's that his stats, it takes him 100 times longer to level up anything, right? So bro was a gamer, basically was like, damn, these games don't last long enough, and his idea was, okay, I'll find a video game that has garbage balancing. Garbage balancing will make the length extend. Got basically an agreement, he signed a contract, picked the hardest difficulty, picked the class with the hardest everything, which was Summoner, and insert new life. It's kind of funny because it took him about a year before the game developers hooked him up with his grimoire, and it turns out his grimoire is basically a card collecting system. So obviously he starts off with very basic things at first, and the longer he collects. But the cool thing that I really liked about this episode was that eventually he got to the point of being able to do Digimon level things, which was he could digivolve, right? So when summoning multiple things, you can merge them into an even cooler thing. The unfortunate thing is that his stats are so garbage that, you know, his summoning stats wasn't keeping up with his mana. So it took him an extra year just to have the mana capable of fusing multiple summons. And to be honest, I actually quite like the style they're going for. I already know how the anime community is. I've been around long enough. They will bitch and moan that this is ugly animation. And while in the opening, there are certainly some summons that look pretty obviously 3D, something like this grasshopper in motion actually was very adorable. And immediately I was like, okay, this is oddly wholesome. And I mean, based on some of the other creatures that, you know, they were hunting, which this is ranked C in the world of summons. So, you know, still a hefty boy, but we're not anywhere close to being able to summon something quite this strong. I do think this show, while there's going to be a lot of nitpicking, whether it's, you know, character faces in the background here or some of the 3D, in general, this show has a style that really works for me. And it's shots like these that really get across the Digimon feel, because anyone who has played Digimon, watched Digimon, whatever, knows how silly character designs can be. And this mole, this thing's a Digimon. This frog could be a Digimon. This is just a bird, but it is a fusion. So, I mean, it counts in the whole Digimon thing. And it's like, I'm not sure how intense the show will get. I don't think it's going to be overly, like, I think there will be blood in terms of fighting things as seen by his father hunting and things like that. But could it go dramatic? Sure. But the fact that childbirth went successful not once but twice does say that maybe his family will be a-okay. Like, I don't think this is going to be the groundbreaking Sakuga of the season, but I gotta be real. The idea of like a Shangri-La frontier, but like actually isekai, not just playing a game, but chasing after the hardest of balancing, being okay being summoned to a new world, not because like, oh, I just forgot about my old life. Bro constantly reminds us that like throughout this whole episode, this isn't a kind of like, oh, you forget it's an isekai. The entire time he says, I literally had nothing. Dead end job, no relationships. My life was very pathetic. I'm kind of enjoying this new family thing I got going on here. Like in this moment here, like bro's literally just kind of like contemplating that, hey, you know what? Like I actually kind of digging this. This is a fun change of pace. Because I thought they were just going to kind of like skim over the fact that he started as a baby and like he'd be 8 years old already. And maybe he will by the end of the next episode or the start of next episode, who knows. But either way, they actually did pacing right here. I think one of the things that, whether or not you liked Mushoku Tensei or not, because that show was so popular, production committees started to fund things that had similar elements to it. And one of the elements that is similar to it is stuff of being reincarnated from scratch, literally seeing the childbirth Death Stranding style, if you know, you know, and getting to watch this. But we don't always have to make it like, oh, he treats this person bad or this is struggle. Like the struggle for him so far, and probably the main struggle will be, his stats are garbage in terms of balancing. And given that they set up in this episode that they're going to get him tested at some point, see where, you know, his career path will go someday, because we know he has stat modifiers based on the fact of how many summons he has, I'm not going to be surprised if people can't see that and they just see really shitty stats. And then obviously the struggle for him won't be that he has a shitty family life again or anything like that. It will be fighting against a world that doesn't think of him as capable and him proving them wrong. There's clearly going to be a lot of cool summons and the like, and like I said, there are some in this opening that they play at the very end of the episode that, yeah, you're going to be able to say, oh, this is not that great of 3D. Like, I mean, shots like these are pretty obvious, not going to lie, or some of these big boys, right? But at the end of the day, do I think we should just completely write this off as garbage production? No. Like, maybe it helps that I've grown up on way worse 3D than this. Maybe it helps that there's other things to animation than just some of these shots. Because in general, I actually quite like the look of this. I think it has a fun color palette. The character designs are nice. And for the most part, the whole episode had me just saying I actually liked how they were doing the 3D grasshopper and the like of that. There's going to be good and there's going to be very bad with this production. But I think in general, this Hell Mode show is actually way better than the people that I've seen talk about it prior to it releasing. Granted, I only saw a small handful really discuss it, and basically everyone was like, yeah, it's all right. Maybe the anime made it more fun, but I gotta be real, kind of having like a wholesome Mushoku Tensei, but set on hard mode, mixed with a Digimon power system, mixed with a Yu-Gi-Oh card collecting simulator is something I didn't know I needed, but I am so happy it now exists. This is one of the episodes that definitely had the most fun for me. Not saying it's like top 10 of the season, it'll be it, but in terms of pure fun, yeah, this was absolutely like a top 5 for me in terms of just pure entertainment value. Let me know your thoughts on episode 1, whether if you've known the source material, you're fresh to the show like me, what did you think? Let me know. Drop a like, share, support, subscribe if you're new around here, and Patreon is, of course, where you'll catch my full live reactions. Also, more like I also love to give video shoutouts to my patrons, because without them, you won't see these YouTube videos. So today we got Winter Naomi Vera, Aracito, Alexin Free, Shadow Gaming at 396, Keith 32, Prizzo Wiper, Guy End 123, and we also have Connor Reeves. So I appreciate the support. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.